I'm Rich and welcome to Nice Kettle. Looking for an everyday watch with colour that doesn't break the bank? Thought so. Let's have a look at the Fortitude Lite. So if you're not familiar with ASTOR+BANKS, let me enlighten you. They're an independent watchmaker based in Chicago, Illinois, USA, founded by Andrew Perez, veteran and self-confessed watch nerd. The brand takes its name from the intersection of Astor and Banks, which is close to where Perez lived. 2020 saw the release of the Fortitude, a watch that was colourful, anti-magnetic and water resistant, and arguably the breakout product for ASTOR+BANKS. The Fortitude Lite follows on from the Fortitude and aims to address some of the complaints around the original Fortitude. So the biggest niggle with the original Fortitude was around the case back, and the fact that due to the anti-magnetic properties and the iron inserts within the case back sat proud of the back of the watch. Therefore, you got a bit of a gap between the watch and your wrist. It seems like ASTOR+BANKS were listening, and that's what the Fortitude Lite aims to address. It's 1mm thinner, and it sits much tighter to the wrist. So the Fortitude Lite aims to expand on the success of the colours of the original Fortitude. This time we've got 7 different colours: pastel yellow, polar white, silver, mother of pearl, mint green, sand and peach. The design of the dial is almost identical to the Fortitude minus the date window. All dials feature applied markers with a generous dollop of BGW9 Superluminova. The case is 316 polished stainless steel, features a screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position. In terms of dimensions, we've got 38.5mm diameter, 10.9mm thickness. We've got a nice compact lug to lug of 45.5mm with drilled lug holes with that all important 20mm lug width. In terms of bracelet, it's polished with chamfers to the underneath, and it tapers down from 20mm down to 16mm at the clasp. Due to the case, you get a really useful 200m water resistance, that's 660 feet if you work in feet. When it comes to anti-magnetic properties, it's down versus the original Fortitude at 4,800 AM. That's due to the removal of some of the iron inserts inside the case, which has allowed the case to lose that 1mm in terms of thickness. When it comes to movement, we've got the Workhorse Miyota 9039 running at 4 Hz, 42-hour power reserve with automatic and manual winding and seconds hacking. So it's great. How much does it cost? Well, it's $625 US or 459 of your UK pounds. And personally, I think that's a bit of a bargain for what you're getting. It's a solid workhorse movement with great dimensions, and that dial is just like nothing that I've seen out there at the moment. There's nothing with that colourway. Bargain. So enough of the boring stuff. You want to get to the good bit, right? You want to talk about the watch. What's it like? Well, first things first, it's not a Rolex Oyster Perpetual, despite everyone else on YouTube comparing this watch to a Rolex Oyster Perpetual. It's better. Why is it better? Because there's not a waiting list. Because you don't have to insure it. Because you can walk out your front door wearing this watch without being terrified that you're going to get mugged every single time you do so. Yes, it's not going to be an asset. It's not an investment. It's not going to make you loads of money. But what it is going to do is it's going to put a smile on your face every time you look at it. Every time you look at that orange peachy coloured dial, you're going to smile. It's fun. And you can wear it anywhere. It's 200 metres water resistant. Wash your hands, jump in a swimming pool, go diving, whatever. It works. It's just a fab everyday watch that you can wear and enjoy, that will make you smile. What more can you ask from something you wear on your wrist than that? So anyway, Rolex stuff aside, let's actually look at the watch. I talked about the dial. It's such an interesting colour. Sometimes it looks like this kind of deep shade of orange. Then when the light catches it, it moves to almost like a sort of salmon colour with like a little bit of sort of orange fizz over the top of it. Then you've got the contrast of those gunmetal hands and indices. They really set that orange peachy colour off. While we're talking about the hands, they're brilliantly finished. Under the macro, I couldn't believe how smart and sharp they looked on every single edge. Far better than most watches at this price point. And those indices too. They really stand out. They're really noticeable. It's really legible. It's nice the way they kind of rise out of that dial. The text's tidy, clean, simple. I like the little red Fortitude text at the bottom. I just really like the way the light plays with the colour and the texture of the dial. It pops. So what else is great about it? Well, it's comfortable. That's something I struggle with my circumference under normal tolerance wrist. It's really difficult for me to find watches that fit well around my wrist and comfortably, especially on a steel bracelet. I didn't get hands-on with the original Fortitude, but if this addresses the issue, I'm sure anyone that bought that watch that felt that it sat too proud on the wrist will be really, really happy. I'm confident they've addressed those issues. I mean, look, it's super thin. There's no protrusion out the bottom of that. And then you've got the way those lugs, they just drop straight down. So for someone like me, with that tiny misshapen wrist, it's really easy to get a really, really good fit. And while we're talking about comfort, let's talk about that bracelet. Compared to the bracelet on my Speedmaster and my Bremont, I would happily swap either for one that is this comfortable with this taper. For me and my little tiny wrists, it just works brilliantly. It doesn't have masses of polish on it, it's nice and brushed, it's really nice and articulated. It just fits really well. There's no skin catching, no pulling hairs, it's just comfy and it's solid. Let's talk about the case, because that's just as comfortable too. The removal of that protruding case backs really helped make the whole proposition more comfortable, I suspect. I like the finishing of the case, it's brushed. If you nick it, scratch it, it's not going to show too easily. I've been wearing this a couple of weeks. There's no real visible signs of scratching or damage, and I've not been particularly careful with it, as I'm not with any of my watches, to be honest with you. It's got the brushed face on the front of it, which again, if you scrape it, scratch it, it's not going to show too much. It seems quite tough actually, the steel. It's not marked in any way. And then with that case, with that screw down crown, the way it's designed, you get that 200 meters water resistance. You get those anti-magnetic properties. And that's what's great about it. It's just a brilliant, fun, everyday watch. Want to jump in a swimming pool at lunch? You can. Want to throw it through an X-ray machine at an airport? You can. Want to wear it and scratch it about and bash it at work and give it a beating? Yeah. You can do all those things. It will look back at you and it will laugh and it will smile. It's fun. And it's tough. So it's brilliant, no complaints. Not quite. There's one niggle and one thing I'd like to see differently on the watch in the future. So what's the niggle? It's actually the catch. That's the catch. So when I wear it and I twist my wrist, it just pops. I don't know whether you can you see that? But it makes a really annoying noise, and then whenever I move thereafter, I get that. Hear that? I mean, it's not the end of the world, and I have tried adjusting the micro adjustment and adjusting the strap before anyone says, yeah, adjust the strap, you idiot. I have tried that and it's still the same result. While the bracelet as a whole is really quality in terms of its construction, I just feel like this plate, this buckle, could have been a bit better. Seems to be a fair bit of play in just this one section. The rest of it's solid. Just this one section. It's annoying, but it's not really the end of the world. I'd still take this bracelet and this clasp actually over the one on my Bremont any day of the week. And that's it in terms of niggles. That is just that one thing. For me, it delivers on everything else. Everything else about it, dimensionally, it's brilliant, it sits comfortably, the dial is fantastic, I love that peach colour, it's really different, it's really unique. The only thing I wish the watch had that it doesn't have is on this brushed bezel. I kind of wish it was polished. Is that weird? Is that too blingy? I know it would probably scratch, but I'm not the biggest fan of the vertical brushing on the front of it. For me, I think it would look super smart with that polished bezel around the outside. In summary, we've established it's not a Rolex Oyster Perpetual. It's a watch that's fun, that can do anything you ask of it, that can take a beating and will make you smile. I think there are 5 great reasons to consider it. If you're looking for a watch that's colourful, that you can wear every day, that you're not going to be worried about giving a beating to it, this is a great watch. This is a great choice, in my view. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you did like this video, please do consider giving it a like or subscribing to my channel for more watch related content. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!